Okay, good Mayid. We're up to Kufya Tes Amid Aleph by the two dots about 10 lines down. Said that when Slav got four chalakim. They got the chalik of Slavchad. They got the chalik of Chefer, because the Mishnah was going according to the opinion that Eretz Yisrael was divided according to Yotzim Mitzrayim, and both Chefer and his son Slavchad were Yotzim Mitzrayim. In addition, they got the chalik of Bechorah of Slavchad. In addition, they got a dead uncles. So that was a total of four. The Gemara is going to ask something we know the answer to already, is how could they get the Bechorah? Bechorah is only muhsik, what the person's holding on to at the time of their death. Eretz Yisrael, both Chefer and Slavchad did not enter Eretz Yisrael, so they never got it. So how are they able to be Quith Wada Bechorah? Now we know the answer from yesterday's daf, that they were considered muhsik in Eretz Yisrael. But again, yesterday's daf came l'chera as a result of this. This is the ikka source. It's roi. It's not. It's futures and not what they're holding on to now at the time of their death. A bechor does not get what's roi to come rather than what is being held on to. Rabbi and Shmuel, when it says they were kaina the chelik bechora, it wasn't speaking about karka. It was speaking about what they had in their possessions at the time they left Mitzrayim. Be yeseidos oilam, right? The Rashbam says everyone had an oil, everyone had a tent, and the yeseidos, the pegs that would hold down the tent. So the chayra is just an example of something we know they had is metaltalin. So you're right. When it says bechor, they got only the metaltalin. They didn't get what? They didn't get karka, because karka is roy rather than muksik. Masif Rabba, Rabbi Hudoimer, B'nai Slavchad Natlu Dalit Chalakim. They got four Chalakim Shnemar, Vayiplu Chavle Menashe Asara. As we saw yesterday, the six Batei Avos of Menashe and the additional four B'nai Slavchad is a total of 10. And we're dealing with karka. We're not dealing with metaltalin. So your teretz that you're giving, the teretz that you're giving is Rabbi Yehuda in the name of Shmuel, not a good teretz. Because you see that they got actual karka, they didn't get metaltalin. Ella, you're right. So back to the original question, Bechor does not take beroi kilim mochzik. Rabba Eretz Yisrael mochzekas. See, this is the teretz we knew already. They were considered Eretz Yisrael mochzekas. Again, going back all to the day of Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu and Pashas Lech Lecha, Vayelech Avram l'Orcho l'Rochbo. He walked over Eretz Yisrael. He was machzik in the land. You know, Avram Avinu was ready. Was given to Avram Avinu by the brisbane abesarim. So we were muhsik in Eretz Yisrael. It wasn't the first time we were there. We got it from the Avos. So it was there already. So Mamela, it's not considered roy. It's considered muhsik. Since it's considered muhsik, they're enabled. Slavchad is enabled to go ahead and bequeath to his daughter this amount, this piece of land. Meisivei Amar Rabbi Chitkia Shimon Hashikmaini Hoyali Chava Mitamid Rabbi Kiva. So Shimon Hashakmaini was a friend from the Talmid Rabbi Akiva. The Kachai Reb Shimon Hashakmaini Omer. The day Ahoy Moshe Rabbeinu Sheb Slavchad Yarsha saying they come to Moshe, right? They partially come to Moshe. Smashma Moshe had to ask the Kodesh Baruch Hu what to do. So Pashtus, you think that Moshe did not know the halacha of Nachlis? He had to go yes to Rabbeinu Shalom. So no, Moshe Rabbeinu did know. He didn't know if he took the chelik of Bechor or not. The Gemara's kasha is going to be, if they're muhsik, why was Moshe Rabbeinu mesupik, correct? In other words, if you know that Eretz Yisrael is muhsik from the Mecha Kadmoinim, so Moshe should have known that there's a piece of Bechor. That's going to be the kasha. So in other words, we're going ahead and we're reframing the idea that Moshe didn't know. Of course, Moshe knew the din that a bas inherits. What he didn't know is what he didn't know, does a bas get the bechor or not? Is it considered roy? Is it considered muhsik or not? V'ruya hoysa parsha nachlas likas of adei Moshe, and the parsha of nachlas should be written by Moshe Rabbeinu. El shezacha b'nei slavka v'nichval yadan. Okay, so therefore Moshe knew the halacha of that they got, that women got. They didn't know whether you got, but whether Bechor is considered Eretz Yisrael is considered muhsik or not, and that's going to be the kasha. I just two wonderful sources. One, how did Moshe know? How did Moshe know that a bas gets? So one is from the Parsha of Yibum, one's from the Parsha of Yibum. We know that what Parsha of Yibum, Parsha of Nachla are very much you're considered the child or not. If a man dies and leaves a son, there's no Yibum. If a man dies and leaves a daughter, there's no Yibum. So we see that a girl, the Indian Yibum, is considered what is considered a family. It's considered that there's no din of Yivam. Memelo Indian Nachla as well. Just like Indian Yibum, a girl is considered what a member of, the father's daughter. So to Indian Nachla is the father's daughter. That's one source. Another source is very fascinating. In the Pasha of Nachlas, it says that Serach bas Asher. Serach was the daughter of Asher. Now, why would Serach get a piece of Nachla? After all, Menashe had sons. We just listed them yesterday. We know the halacha that b'makam a ben, a daughter doesn't get. So why would Serach get? So guys, Serach was not Asher's son. Serach was a stepdaughter. She wasn't his son. Excuse me. She was a She was a stepdaughter. She was a stepdaughter. So guys, Serach was a stepdaughter to Asher, and Serach did not. Her father, real father, had no sons. So therefore, she inherited, right? Therefore, what? She inherited. So therefore, Moshe knew if Serach inherited, that a daughter inherits. So very good. The words of Shimon HaKadmoni. Of course, Moshe Rabbeinu knew the halacha that a girl inherits, either from the Parshas of Yibam or the fact that Serach inherited. Elamah, what did he know? He didn't know whether the din of it wasn't a din in girl; it was a din in Bechayra. Whether it's considered muhsik or is it considered what? A roy. Now the second din. The Torah tells us a Maisa where they found a person who was gathering sticks on Shabbos. As a matter of fact, there's an opinion that this Mekoshe was Slavchad. Right? There's an opinion it was Slavchad, so it's ironic that, and he didn't know, Moshe didn't know what to do with him. So it's not Pshat, he didn't know what to do with him. He didn't know which Misa to give him. He knew that you're Chayiv Misa for Shabbos, Mechal Shabbos. Shnemar, Mechal Mos you must. When it's Mechal Shabbos dies. So he knew that. Misa. Was it Schil or Chenek? He didn't know how to kill him.
Nice question. If he knew, where was the hasra? Don't you, in order to kill somebody?
They gave hasra. They gave hasra. They gave hasra misa. Oh, that's a kasha. Which misa? You have to say which misa you're going to give. I think it's a shaila. Whether you have to tell me a particular misa or that it's death. Well, just that it's death, Hesh. I'm not sure, but I remember such raid. Okay. Your question is based upon the fact that you have to say you're going to get this particular misa.
So right. So Moshe Rabbeinu would have to know,
No, yeah, but there's another way to say it.
Right.
It's death in general.
I hear. Yeah.
Again, it's somewhere. Okay. So Rabbi Avi, we're Kufya Tes Amid Aleph at the bottom. So we're speaking out the Moshe Rabbeinu that Rabbi Shimon HaKashach said that Moshe knew that Benos Slavchad inherited. He didn't know if they inherited the Pishnayim or not, because maybe it's considered Roy and not considered Muchsik. Maybe it's considered Roy, it's not considered Muchsik. Right. In addition, we're saying what? We're saying that Moshe knew the Mekoshesh was Bemisa, but he didn't know which one. So it wasn't Pshat, he didn't know the halacha at all. So that's where we're up to, Mechalom Mosyumas. We're up to the bottom of Kufyutes Amid Aleph. Avlo Yedei Bezim Misa Hum Yomas. V'ru Yehoysa Parshas Mekoshesh Shetichtav Yedei Moshe. Right. Elishin is Chayiv Mekoshesh. V'nichtav Al Yadai. The Mekoshesh was Chayiv and it was written through his hand. Lamdecha to teach you on Beis Shem Megalgan Schus Al Yedei Zakai. Through the Benois Slavchad, we brought about this parsha of Nachla. The Chayiv Al Yedei Chayiv, and through the parsha of the Mekoshes, we brought about this parsha, which was to teach us the Misa of Shabbos, which is Skila. What's the kasha? V'isal kedaitach, Eretz Yisrael, muchsekes. And if you're going to tell me Eretz Yisrael is considered muchsek, and therefore Slavchot could be queefed to his daughters, Pishnayim, because it's considered muchsek and not Roy, my komistafkale, what was Moshe Shaila? What was Moshe Shaila, guys? That's the Gemara's kasha. So the Gemara answers, he gufa kamastafkale. That gufa is the suffix. The gufa, the suffix was, is it considered muhsik or not? That was Moshe Shaila. Dichsiv, it says, Rasati oisa lochem, my Rasha ani Hashem. Now, my Rasha means a legacy. Now, I can teach my Rasha that it's not, I don't inherit it now, but I bequeathed it for later, right? Or no, it could be a lashon of Yerusha, that what I'm inheriting it now. So, Yerusha hilachem yavoy seichem. So it's Yerusha what from right. So now, if it's considered a Meirasha me avoy seichem, that means the avois, in this case, Chefer and Slavcha, they had it in their possession, and Memela, Slavcha would inherit Chefer, right? And his daughters would inherit for Slavcha, right? Because again, it's Pishnayim. So when it says Meirasha, on one hand, Meirasha is mashma, it's not in their possession yet. On the other hand, Me'avo Seichem is mashma, it is. Oidilma Shem Irishin, Ve'enu Yorshim. Maybe what they're Meiriship, but they don't bequeath it. In other words, they don't have it. They don't have it yet. They eventually they'll get it, but not now, because it's considered roy. So that's the shaila. Upashtu le travayu, and we push it both. In other words, it's considered avoy seichem, and also considered that they don't have it yet. Yerusha lechem avoy seichem, umayrishin ve'enu yorshim. They would be meiriship, but they wouldn't get it. V'hainu dechsiv. It says in the parsha of Os Yashir, Tivi Emo, you bring them, Visite Emo, and you implanted them, Bahar Nachlascha. Tivi Emo, bring them Leinemar, Ela Tivi Emo. It doesn't say you brought them, Ela Tivi Emo, is Mashma Al Yedei Acherim, the Rashbam says. Tivi Emo Al Yedei Acherim. What does that mean? That they're saying that we're going to get Eretz Yisrael through somebody else, because we're not going to make it. They've been this nava that they're going to die in the midbar. Tivi'emay al yidei acher, not themselves. Malamed shem nisnavnim, that the dor hadeya, they said nevuah, ve'enu yodim misnavnim, and they didn't know what they were saying. Right? They didn't know what they were saying. So they had it. So so memela, right? Memela. I set that up for later.
I can't.
So the okay. So Memela, the nevuah is that what you're going to get it, but it won't go to you. So that's pshat marishin. You'll be meirishit because it's Eretz Yisrael is divided according to Yetz Mitzrayim. The Einu Yarshim, but you yourself won't get it. On the other hand, I was saying, the Indian considered muhsik, it's considered muhsik. So you're playing both sides of the fence. Okay. Says the Gemara Vayta. So now we're going to darshan the Riagada regarding Bnei Slavchad. It says they Bnei Slavchad went ahead. They stood in front of Moshe, in front of Elazar, in front of Nesiim, the Chol Eda. Efsha Amdu Lefnei Moshe, and Moshe did not know. V'lei Amru Lehen. He didn't say anything. V'lei Amdu Lehem Davar. Amdu Lefnei Nesiim v'Chol Eda. In other words, you go to Moshe. Moshe doesn't know. What are you going to do, guys? What are you going to do? You're going to go to Aaron. Yeah, the Aaron was. You're going to go to Aaron was dead. You're going to go to Elazar. You're going to go to. It doesn't make any sense, right? Once you go to Moshe, that's the final say. If Moshe doesn't know, no one else is going to know, because Moshe would have taught them. Moshe taught everybody everything. So if Moshe didn't know, how would they know? So therefore, Elasaris Amikra, turn the pasuk around. V'darsheyu, Divrei Rabbi Yoshia. Rabbi Yoshia says that they first went to the Kol Eda, they didn't know. They went to Aaron, they didn't know. They went to Elazar, he didn't know, and they went to Moshe. In other words, they didn't want to look at Chila Ba'adam Moshe, but they went up the hierarchy. Now, that was the way Rabbi Yoshia learned it. Abba Chanan Omar, Abba Chanan said, Mishum Rebbe Eliezer, the base of Medrash, Chayu Yoshvin. They were all in the base Medrash. Moshe, Eliezer, Elazar, and the Eda. They were sitting. Now, so l'chayra, what's the machloikas between Rabbi Yoshia and Chanan? The Ma'akamifiki, Masava Cholkin cover the Talmud of Makam Arav. One who says that what you give covered to the Talmud b'makam arav, u'masav ein cholkin. Okay, the one who says cholkin, that's Chanun. Said Chanun, they were in the base medrash, and Moshe Rabbeinu gave cover to them. So Memela, they gave cover to Elazar, and they gave cover to the Eidah. Whereas Rabbi Yoshia said, no, you have to switch around the pasuk. He says you don't give cover to the makam of the Talmud b'makam arav. And Memela, he had to be misaris the pasuk, because again, there's no reason for mentioning the Eidah at all, or Elazar at all. The Hilchasad halacha is ein cholkin. Hilchasad masavacha. Hilchasad cholkin. Hilchasad ein cholkin. The halacha is you do give covered. The halacha you don't give covered. It says makasha hilchasad. You makasha one halacha and the other halacha. It says when hilchasad like kasha. Had the poligle Rabbi Yikara, where the Rebbe gives covered, then you give covered. That's Reb Chanan. Had le poligle Rabbi Yikara. And so the one that said halacha that cholkin is what the Rebbe gave covered, and the one that says you don't give covered is the Rebbe not give covered. Tana, b'nois Slavchad, the daughters of Slavchad, chachmani yishein, they were very wise. Darshani yishein, they were able to darshan psukim, and tzidkani yishein, and they would said tzidkanias, they would tzedekis. Chachmani yishein, they're chachmaniyas, shehein shelfi shadibru. They spoke at the right time. Sometimes you guys know timing is everything, correct? So they spoke at the right time. Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak Malamed Shay Moshe Rabbeinu Yoshev v'Dairish b'Parshas Yevamim. Moshe Rabbeinu was doing what? He got to the Devarim Chavhei. He got to the Parsha of Yibum. Shenemar Ki Yeshu Achim Yachta. Amru Loi. So as soon as they get to the Parsha, who pipes up? B'nai Slavchad. Amru Loi. Im Keben Anu Chashuvim. If we're considered the same as a son, then give us a nachla like a son. Im lav, and if not, if we're not like a son, tisyabim mimenu, then go ahead and be miyabim, our mother. In other words, how do you say linyan child, you're a child, but linyan nachla, you're not a child? As we mentioned before, it would seem hava hatalia, one is dependent upon the other. So they waited for the parsha of Yavamis to be, as soon as Moshe said that, and we see that they were so smart. What did they say? They said beautifully, if we're considered in Yibum, that there's no Yibum, we're considered a child, then give us an achla. And if in the Inyan nachla we're not considered a child, then mimiyabim the mother. Miyad vayakriv Moshe mishpat l'fnei Hashem. Moshe heard and he brought the shaila to Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Says Gemara Dashaniyas Haim, they were Dashaniyas. Shayu Oymis ilu hoyu loy ben. If there was a son like the Barno, in other words, if we had a brother, we know we wouldn't have spoken at all. It says Gemara Tanya Bas. If there was a Bas, which makes no sense because they're the Bas, right? If there was a Bas, we're the Bas. So Amar Yirmiyah Samay Mikan Bas. Take out Bas there. It makes no sense. Their daughters are saying if there was a daughter, right, guys? So it makes no sense. So it says Rav Yirmiyah, the brisa must be corrupt, and some make it like lashon suma, make it blind, take it out. Abaya says, Afilu hoya Bas leben. You see the Darshanias guys, because they darshaned ayin alav. Why do we say parsha in the hierarchy, fellas? We don't only look at the son, we look at any lineage that the son may have left. If the son left a son or a daughter, that son or daughter, the grandchild of the deceased, would precede the daughter. Remember, they go along the lines. So what were they saying? They weren't saying there was a son. They darshan afilu if there was a son to a son or a daughter to a son, even though keeping the girsa over here, it couldn't mean daughter because it makes no sense because they're daughters. They're saying even there was a granddaughter, meaning our brother who's dead, would have a niece, right? We wouldn't even speak because we would understand that niece would get before us. Remember, that's what the Tzedaikim wanted to say, that the Bas of Ben should go equal with the daughter, right? Because the daughter is the direct descendant and they're not, right? So, and we said that. That's it. But we slugged them up. So Memela, we see that they were Darshanias because they darshan that. Chachmaniyas, we're going to wait till tomorrow because it's going to take us into tomorrow's daf. Tomorrow's daf is going to be tonight. We're going to say Be'ezer Hashem tonight. I'm sorry, Rabbi Avi.